Welcome back to the Spartan Investor Conference 2025. I'm Jane King. You're watching Idea Exchange. With me is Michael Heltzen, the CEO of eXoZymes. So explain the company. What is it? What's your mission?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for having me. At eXoZymes, we basically obsess about making a new generation of biosolutions. That means we can build systems that produces natural products that are typically either very rare or impossible to get hold of. So how do we do that? We basically study nature. How is nature making these rare molecules that you sometimes find in trace amounts out in nature? We look at the DNA of that, and then we basically put it on our AI platform and brute force evolution. That means we basically sit down and calculate what are all the mutations that in principle would happen out in nature over billions of years. If it mutated one generation at a time, we just do it all at once. And then we calculate what are the best versions of these enzymes that are being optimized, what would they look like? And then we can go in the lab and test them out and find the right combination. And that way we can make these Superman versions of enzymes that are called eXoZymes.
Okay, let's talk about the AI for a second. So that's allowing you to, I guess, gather data, look at the data, extract valuable things from that data that saves you time, right? When you're trying to, could you do your job without AI?
So there were prior generations that are being sped up like multiple times by using these machine learning technologies, where you are basically using one of the breakthroughs that gave, for example, DeepMind in the UK, that is now owned by Google, the Nobel Prize in chemistry. That was basically how do you go from the sequence of DNA and proteins into the structure of a protein and, for example, an enzyme. So those kind of AlphaFold methodologies are the starting points for what is now in third generation in a more sophisticated system, where we can guess the different mutations that will lead not just to the structure but to the function of the enzymes.
So the eXoZymes, and where are they used?
Yeah, really good question. So we basically build biosolutions. So let me give you a concrete product example. So we're building a small molecule called NCT. That's a small molecule found out in nature that have been proven to basically boost metabolism. That means burn fat and turn it into energy. That's a good value proposition, and obviously plays up against this reality of the obesity drugs and weight loss drugs, the GLP-1s, where people are now looking for better molecules and for add-on molecules to the GLP-1s.
Okay.
This is an example of that.
So pharmaceuticals would be one area. Are there other applications?
So we play in the crossfield of nutraceuticals. That means like things you can sell over the counter because it's already available in nature and generally recognized as safe. Where if you start optimizing on the potency and all of these things, then you go over in the pharmaceutical space. So we try to do that double dip of both making the natural product version that can be sold over the counter, and then at the same time also making much more potent and specialized versions of the same thing that can be used as a pharmaceutical candidate.
Okay, all right, so both, you're doing both then. Anything else besides pharmaceuticals? Would this be found in foods, for example, or would that be an application at some point?
So from a technical perspective, this can be used for most kind of chemistry. So it's really, really broad. We've just decided for strategic reasons to focus on these two use cases. But yes, in principle, it could be used in other kinds of specialty chemicals. And we have products where it's kind of like a fragrance molecule that can also be a pharmaceutical molecule. The reason why we take this double dip is approach is basically building a biosolution can be applied right away and get to market and start generating revenue, while also having the upside potential of the pharmaceutical industry. That those takes longer time because of the clinical and regulatory realities.
Right. So, and there's enough overlap in the two products that it just makes sense. Like you're being efficient that way.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you have a product yet, or are you still?
So, NCT is the flagship product that is kind of being taken to these two different markets. Then we have a couple of other product lines that are also under development. So we have a small molecule called Sandeline. Sandeline is this fragrance molecule, one of the most expensive fragrance molecules that you can find in perfumes. So really, really expensive perfumes have Sandeline in it. Sandeline comes naturally from what is called sandalwood oil. Sandalwood oil is one of the most expensive natural products you can get your hands on, because to get it, you basically need to grow a tree for 10 to 30 years. only one of two places in the world, and you get to harvest one time by taking the hardwood out, putting that in chemicals and steam for a week, and then you get some of this sandalwood oil out that has a little bit of the sandaline. So this is not an easy supply chain,
Yeah.
fast kind of reacting supply opportunity. So our ability to sit down, look at the genes that makes the tree able to make this, and then build with the eXoZymes a biosolution that can start providing first to the fragrance industry the fragrance molecule, but also build on making pharmaceutical drug candidates out of it. It's again a double dip opportunity.
Okay, interesting. So what's your strategy? Do you have like a 3 to 5 year plan?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're set up and mandated by our investors when we IPO'd, basically to take this technology breakthrough and apply it via what we call first the incubator, where we internally run the project, make sure that it technically works and there's a large potential market. And then we graduate those projects up in the accelerator, where we either spin the opportunity, for example, NCT out as a company of its own,
Ah, okay.
and in other cases, we license it out. And in the in-between cases, it's things like joint ventures and others where it's halfway licensing, halfway ownership. So the business plan is to basically be a company creator that makes these very, very potent and extraordinary business cases because of the technology breakthrough.
Okay, and then you do that and either license it or spin it out into its own
Yeah.
business. Okay,
Exactly.
interesting. How can somebody follow eXoZymes or follow what
So
you're doing?
our ticker is eXoZ. So the four letters of our name. So we are NASDAQ, and we are very active via LinkedIn and other online media to basically communicate how we are making the progress in the different products and business cases.
Okay, Michael, thank you so much for
Yeah.
explaining this.
Thank you for your time.
And thank you as well for joining us at the Spartan Investor Conference. We'll see you next time.